This is WAB 970, the Alaska Department of Fish and Game in Dillingham, with an update regarding commercial fishing in the Nushagak district. The Nushagak River escapement on June 22 for king salmon was 251 for a total of 10,677. And for sockeye salmon was 95,000 yesterday for a total of 126,500. Although we have not yet met the escapement for the triggers, we want to be ready to respond when we do. Nushagak District fishermen should be ready to fish as early as 5 a.m. with set gill nets and 8 a.m. with drift gill nets, Saturday, June 24.
We are not announcing any openings at this time, but we want the fleet to be prepared to respond on short notice as early as tomorrow morning. We will do another announcement this evening to update the fleet after we gather additional information today. This has been the Alaska Department of Fish and Game in Dillingham.
What I'm thinking is go across to like Nushagak Point. I want to see if there's a lot of belugas down there.
On a tide-by-tide basis during the season, I make the decisions about when to fish, what gear type to fish, and how much fishing time. So the decisions about the sustainability in the future of the salmon run. So Dillingham is the hub for the west side of Bristol Bay. It's the main community associated with the Nushagak District salmon fishery. The commercial fishery for salmon started in 1883 here in the Nushagak District. Subsistence fishing is very important, and just the money that comes through this town because of the people that live here that harvest salmon and all the other industry that comes through this town. I mean, that's why it's the driver for this community, is because it brings all the economics here. Bristol Bay is completely wild. There's no hatchery production here. It's all, pristine environment that the fish come from. And not every fishery can say that, certainly in the lower 48. I think most people look to Bristol Bay as the gold standard. The number one priority is escapement. The escapement are fish that have escaped past the commercial fishery and are going into the lakes or wherever they're going to spawn. Escapement is just as important to the fishermen as it is to the management. Everybody has a long-term perspective on the fishery, because without that escapement, there is no future.
Being part of the fishery up in Bristol Bay, it's a place where, 6 weeks out of every year I can get out of the office chair and put on waders and fishing gloves and get after it. It's a grind. It's, 18, 20-hour days, you're light on sleep, but we say you can do anything for 3 weeks, and we kind of put that to the test. It's truly witnessing a miracle on Earth. Beginning of June, fish start to show up, and by late June and early July, fish are getting up rivers there in the hundreds of thousands every day. Being just a small part of such a massive tidal wave of natural forces, leaves an imprint on you for sure. It's a fishery made up of small family-owned operations. There's no, large trawlers or, large commercial vessels. These are all boats that are run by folks who are mostly part of multi-generation fishing operations. And so it's just a beautiful example of what a fishery can be that's sustainably managed, economically viable, and working in harmony with the natural ecosystem.
We're living in some hard times as human beings right now, and I think it's undeniable. And yet there are places that exist like Bristol Bay, Alaska, where this eternal rhythm of life renewing itself continues. And I need to hear that story right now. Bristol Bay is a place where dreams that are bigger than you've ever imagined actually come true and exist. It feels like anything is possible because it is all still possible in Bristol Bay. That cycle hasn't been broken. That continuity of trust and of love and of reciprocity that those salmon bring back from the ocean to the land still exists there.
All right, let me get out of the net.
The storytelling was the genesis of this whole idea behind Ava's Wild. The films that I've done started out of love and had a real sense of curiosity about that bright sadness in the story of salmon and their struggle and where we intersect and what our role is in the future toward recovering and protecting salmon, these emblems of sacrifice that sustain us and have sustained the people who have been in these parts of the world for thousands of years.
There's no place on earth that makes me feel like a sense of peace like it does here. Salmon brings us life. It's like our whole culture. We're all interconnected with the water, like our salmon, our rivers, and Alaskan rivers. It's very important to me to keep salmon runs alive for my father to pass down his fishing ways, and it's important for me to pass down that information to my own children one day. What we do at Ava's Wild, you don't see it a lot. We really care about giving back and telling a story. I like that we can bring people salmon and just spread the gospel.
$33 and $34.
What do I like about doing this? Just seeing how much other people enjoy the product that we can put out, Enough that they come back, and after they've had their sandwich, they come back and tell us that that's the best thing that they've ever eaten. So that's also satisfying that that's something that we do together. Salmon's just been a huge part of just the Seattle area. Even when I was younger, we would take field trips just to go and watch the salmon run that they had up in Washington, up in Carkeek Park. And then now being a part of a company that can provide that to local restaurants, or if you want it right to your door, anywhere in the country.
Hello.
Hello.
Need a bite?
What you got?
Got a little Bristol Bay sockeye. How's that, dude?
Oh, it's so good, man.
Is that the bomb?
It's so good. Thank you.
Uh-huh. Red salmon is red salmon, man. It is so good. You get a sense that, oh my God, this is the ocean. This is our earth. And that fish really represents that to me. The circle of life starts with a salmon fishery. By us supporting Bristol Bay, by our customers supporting us, by the fishermen being responsible, it gives everyone in that circle of life of Bristol Bay sockeye a way to make a living, a way to feed their families, a way to send their kids to school. All of that comes with the economy of fish. So it's a wonderful thing.
Well, my passion is to use the best local, seasonal, and sustainable ingredients. It's very important for me to use the best quality ingredients that I can find. I've been using Bristol Bay sockeye salmon over 20 years, and it's the cleanest tasting seafood I can get my hands on. To me, it's very important to have a product that I can trust, and it's important that I know the people that catches, people that loves the product. It makes me feel extremely, actually proud to share that delicious food with the world.
I think the story's more important than the serving of the fish. Growing up here and fishing and eating salmon and being able to kind of experience its life cycle year after year and seeing it spawn, and as an adult kind of learning about the cultural importance of it. I think in a time where there's so many terrible stories, it's really nice to serve something that you can champion and be proud of. That part of it has become the most important part of why I cook or what I love to cook. We all have all these things that make our lives easier, but I think when we stop to make simple decisions about, what's for dinner, I think that's a way for us to, have an impact on keeping something that matters around.
At Ava's Wild, we work with chefs who we trust and who we admire, who know how to use the ingredient. We feed people at farmers markets. We ship fish to people's homes. We have folks we send fish to who we've been feeding for, many years at this point. And we also tell stories.
The undercurrent that moves this whole concept really came from exhibiting the films that I've done across the country and listening to people when they said they want something more. What we're pushing for here in Ava's Wild is just an understanding of the beauty and the love of this being, this wild salmon, that we get to be a vessel of delivering to the world.